welcome to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics. Today is Thursday, 21 November. I'm your host Daniel, the founder of HM Intelligence, and every weekday we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape our world. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we'll be covering Russia is accused of firing an intercontinental ballistic missile at Ukraine. Mali Junta chief has sacked the Prime Minister over public criticism, and Google must divest from Chrome to end monopolies, says US regulators. So firstly, Russia has escalated its campaign in Ukraine by deploying an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time in history, according to the Ukrainian military. The missile was launched from Russia's southern region during a morning strike, though details about the specific targets remain undisclosed. This marks a significant development in the ongoing conflict, demonstrating Russia's willingness to use long-range weaponry in its attacks against Ukraine. This move follows Ukraine's recent use of US and UK supplied missiles to strike targets within Russia with the approval of Washington and London. Moscow has repeatedly warned that such actions would be considered a severe provocation and could lead to intensified retaliation. So what? While this is another significant escalation in a week of escalations, it is still highly unlikely that Russia will use a nuclear weapon against Ukraine. As previously mentioned, the precursors of this strike was the West allowing Ukraine to use weapons on Russian territory, a move that likely significantly impacts the Russian war effort, but is unlikely to be decisive. It is possible that Russia will do this again, especially if Ukraine again uses Western weapons over the border. And next, Mali's ruling military junta has dismissed the current Prime Minister and his party due to public criticism of the junta's prolonged delay in transitioning back to civilian rule. At a rally, Maija, who served as the civilian face of the junta since his appointment after the coup in 2021, expressed concerns over the serious challenges and risks of going backwards. This public divergence led to his removal by decree announced by the junta leader, who had delayed promised elections indefinitely. Maija's departure follows months of speculation and reflects the growing rift between the civilian and military factors of Mali's current leadership. This underscores broader instability in the region, where Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are all under the rule of military coups. The juntas in these nations face Islamic insurgent threats and have shifted away from Western alliances to pro-Russian contractors. In Mali, the Wagner Group, under a new name, is a Russian paramilitary force that has taken charge of counterinsurgency efforts, though it has faced significant setbacks, including a destructive ambush earlier this year. The junta's increasing repression, including arrests of opposition figures, highlights the growing authoritarianism within the country as they face economic struggles and security challenges. So what? Mali is facing some extremely complex issues that are highly unlikely to be resolved in the short to medium term. It seems likely that the situation in Mali will get worse before it gets better, possibly getting to the point where the junta controls built-up areas and the Islamic groups have control of the countryside. Additionally, to make things worse, it is highly unlikely that any Western state will intervene, which is likely one of the quickest ways to restore peace in the area. And lastly, the US Department of Justice has proposed significant measures to curb Google's dominance in the online search market, including forcing their parent company, Alphabet, to sell its Chrome browser and share search data with its competitors. Chrome, which provides critical user data to Google, is a linchpin of its strategy to dominate the internet search market, where it holds a 90% share. The DOJ argues that selling Chrome would break Google's monopoly by enabling rival search engines to compete more effectively. It also called for a ban on Google's agreements to make itself the default search engine on Android devices, claiming these deals suppress competition. Google has criticized the proposals as extreme and is expected to suggest alternatives of their own. The move follows a landmark August ruling by the US federal court, who found that Google's multi-billion-dollar agreements to maintain its search dominance constituted anti-competitive practices. The antitrust case is one of the most significant in US efforts to rein in giant tech power since the Justice Department's unsuccessful attempt to break up Microsoft in the 1990s. With a trial scheduled for April 2025 and the verdict anticipated by September, the case could reshape the tech industry. However, a change in administration following President Joe Biden's transition to Donald Trump could influence the DOJ's approach, potentially altering the case's trajectory. So what? This is an interesting case, and it could be beneficial for the tech sector at wide, allowing for more competition and more growth of smaller companies. However, it is highly likely that Google will delay any steps that cannot easily be reversed until Trump comes into office. Until then, it is likely they will just delay the process through the courts. Thank you for listening to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed and leave us a 5-star review. Or if you want to learn more about intelligence, why not take one of our courses? They're all online, self-paced and affordable. Thank you for listening. I've been your host Daniel, and I'll see you next time.